Welcome to today's episode of Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. This community talk show airs on the last programming day of each month on Orange County's only community radio station, octalkradio.net. If you're listening to the show as a podcast, we encourage you to listen live during our broadcast times. Our show can be heard live on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 4 p.m. and Thursdays at our special time of 3 p.m. Although this Thursday's show, which will feature Dr. Mira Farka of Cal State University Fullerton, will be at 4 o'clock. If you're not totally confused, I'm sorry. This show is brought to you by our advertisers, Brandman University, Commercial Bank of California, Decision Toolbox, Smart Business Magazine, Succession Strategies, and our newest sponsor, Center Club, a member of Club Corp. The goal for this show is to help you, our listening audience, of CEOs running middle market firms to learn more about the nonprofit organizations serving the needs of Orange County and global residents. We have two guests today. Our first guest is Russel Hornbeek. He is founder and CEO of Music Saves Lives. Russel, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you here. Let's start by talking a little bit about you. What led you up to starting this organization? Give us a little bit about your background.
Well, I ran a medical device company for 17 years and learned during that process. We focused on medical equipment and so forth. One of our biggest clients was the American Red Cross. And during that time, we were working in the tissue banking industry, and I developed instruments to work with the tissue banking industry.
What's tissue banking?
Tissue banking. How can I say, your donor dot on your driver's license? Okay, so I was actually on a recovery team for 9 years.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I wanted to give back. During that time, I still had that feeling inside of me that I wanted to give back. So during that, they asked me to start developing surgical instruments that were specialized in the tissue recovery. When you did tissue recovery, you can help up to 50 people during that tissue recovery. It's heart valves, people that need transplants, and different tissues that were, So I decided to be a part of that and help out there.
Okay.
So that was kind of the start, and it was American Red Cross company.
Uh-huh.
So during that time frame, right at the end, the tissue bank industry was sold off, and I wanted to continue with the American Red Cross and help them out. I started and jumped over into the blood industry, and so the Southern California blood market with the American Red Cross.
Okay.
And that's where I learned that 30% of the blood supply comes from colleges and high schools. And and then, of course, during the summer, when school's out or during the holidays, that blood supply drops drastically, and it drops 30%. So it just kind of overwhelmed me and said, you know what, we've got to figure out a way of getting these kids back into donating blood.
Because there's such a large percentage of the total, huh?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't really think about our nation's blood supply. At least I don't generally think about it unless there's a natural disaster, and then it comes to your conscience because people are out asking for people to donate.
Right.
Because it's really a perishable commodity, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It has a shelf life of 40 days, but really the amount of people that donate, over 50% of the nation can donate. They qualify and so forth, but only about 5% actually do. So what happens is our nation has 1 to 3 days blood supply in each type of blood type. And you really, you hit it right on the head, nobody really thinks about it until that person which every one of us will have someone we know that needs blood.
Right.
It could be for cancer patients use it all the time to recover from chemotherapy. A lot of people don't realize that.
No, I didn't. Like a transfusion?
Transfusions.
Okay.
Chemotherapy is about tearing down the system so that they get rid of the cancer.
Right.
But the blood is there to build you right back up.
Okay.
And it's used almost 60% of the supply that comes in goes to cancer patients.
Well, I'm speaking with Russel Hornbeek, and he is the founder and CEO of Music Saves Lives, and we're right now talking about his background and sort of the inspiration for the starting this nonprofit organization, Music Saves Lives. And we're not quite there yet to talk about it because I just want to sit on this topic of our blood supply a little bit longer. One of the things you mentioned to me before the show even started, that even in delivery in the.
Oh yeah, I mean with Mother's Day coming around the corner,
Right.
And I looked this up, and I was kind of shocked. I mean, it was 6 out of every 1,000 mothers that give birth will need a blood transfusion. That's just something that's out there that you'd never realize.
Right, and probably the average CEO running a middle market company right now probably hasn't given a lot of thought to, God forbid, if they should be or a loved one go to the hospital and need blood, the availability of the right type of blood.
That's right.
At that specific hospital, it must be a logistical nightmare in some ways to get that all coordinated.
Yeah, I'm on the side
Yes.
of recruiting.
Yes, you're bringing it in.
And I'll tell you, that's it's been a blessing to be able to connect with these young people to be able to do this.
Right.
But yes, you're right. The connecting of the types. O negative is the most popular type that's used.
Okay.
O negative is used for every type of blood. So if somebody has a car accident,
Yes.
and they're losing blood and they don't know what type they are, they can get O negative blood.
Okay, so that's like a universal.
It's a universal
donor or something.
right? So that's the one that's the most popular and the most needed across the board.
I don't even know what I am.
You
I'm
need to
looking
go out
around.
and
My
donate.
engineer doesn't know what he is. Our producer doesn't know what she is.
All right.
So okay,
This is the time to figure that out.
Right.
Our organization, we run blood drives, or we sponsor and partner with these blood centers all across the nation. And you're able to find a drive and go out and donate. It really only takes about an hour, 45 minutes. The actual blood donation part is less than 10, 20 minutes.
is young blood better?
Not necessarily.
Okay. So it doesn't. Yeah, it's all good.
It's all done the same. I mean, young blood's great.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
That's
We need more young blood.
That's right, and that's what our organization, of course, focuses
So
on.
tell me about Music Saved Lives.
Music saves lives. It came about because of that 30% that come from colleges and high schools, and when you go through the summer, and a lot of times you'll hear on TV and so forth, hey, there's a blood shortage, and it always happens around the summertime, and that's primarily because the high schools that are donating blood. I mean, typically, if a lot of people, when they gave blood, if they gave blood at all, it's because they did it in school.
Okay.
So our concept of Music Saves Lives is making it a lifestyle, not just something that you did in school, something that you're reminded that you can do over and over and save somebody's life. You save up to 3 lives every time you go out and donate, because the blood component can be broken up into 3 different types. And those types can be used to save someone it needs a transplant, emergency, cancer, just all types of different things.
Interesting. And how frequently can a donor donate blood?
You can donate whole blood every 56 days. And when I say that, it's like going out, sticking your arm out, and giving blood. Now, they have a couple other fun little things. They do this double red cell now, which is an actual machine, which is it's actually taking double the amount of red cells and placing back the plasma back into your system.
Okay.
You can do that every 120 days.
Okay.
And then there's, of course, platelets, which are very, very important for cancer patients. And those you can give about every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. And is that still an intravenous extract?
Yep. It's very much, I can say, very much like the double red cell, like I was explaining.
Okay.
What it does is they take off the platelets and then they put the plasma back into your system.
Do you find that, you must find that once you get the youth that you're targeting to be a part of the program, that it makes it easier for them to continue with the program, so it's not like a sponsored thing by the school, we'll go for a blood drive,
Well, yeah.
it's who they become.
Absolutely. Because what our focus is making and creating a great experience. Is if you donate, we kind of throw in a little bit of a bonus when you donate with Music Saves Lives. Basically, we're saying, hey, go donate at an official Music Saves Lives location, or use our app to go donate at any location that you like throughout the nation.
Okay.
And you can earn a badge. And that badge is good for coming to any of our events. And of course, every year we do, in the summer, we work with the Vans Warped Tour. And you can come and meet a band, go backstage.
So there's a VIP element.
There's a VIP element, absolutely.
Okay.
So it creates a good experience for donating.
Right.
And what happens is these kids want to come back and donate again.
Okay, we're going to talk more about Music Saves Lives and Russel Hornbeek, who is the founder and CEO of the organization. But we're going to take this short commercial time out. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere because we'll be back after these words from our commercial sponsors.
Commercial Bank of California, or CBC, is a well-funded, full-service bank located in the heart of Orange County. When it comes to safety and stability, CBC has one of the highest levels of capital of any commercial bank, ranked in the top 6% in the nation. Commercial Bank of California was founded in 2003 by a group of Orange County's finest entrepreneurs. To this day, our bank is governed by our founders, including General William Lyon of William Lyon Homes, Alex Morello of the Morello Group, and Frank Willie of Fidelity National Financial, to name a few. In short, we're a bank founded, built, and run by entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs. Not every business in Orange County should be our customer. However, if your business is looking for a bank that can assist in finance, production, analytics, and risk management, there's no better bank to choose. To understand the true power of how Commercial Bank of California can help you achieve your goals, give us a call at 714-431-7000 or visit us on the web at www.combancal.com. Member FDIC.
Can we talk about your family business? You know, that thing you put your whole life's blood, sweat, and tears into? Well, what happens when you retire or try and pass that business on to your children? At Succession Strategies, we can help you find the answers. We'll guide you through the unsettling process of protecting your family legacy and successfully passing your business on to the next generation, safely and securely, ensuring that it'll both survive and thrive for generations to come. So ask yourself just one question. Can I really afford to wait? Take the first step. Take our complimentary self-assessment at successionstrategies.com or call us at 714-560-9022 to set up a free consultation at your convenience. That's succession-strategies.com.
Richard Franzi is the author of 2 popular business books for CEOs. His first book, Critical Mass, The 10 Explosive Powers of CEO Peer Groups, was the first book ever written on the secret value of CEO peer groups. His second book, now with newly updated information, is Critical Mass, The Power of CEO Guiding Principles. Richard's books contain powerful information to help CEOs running middle market companies gain valuable insight to improve their decision-making skills. Richard's books are available as paperbacks or Kindle versions from Amazon.com. To find them, type Richard Franzi in the search box.
Back to this edition of Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. It's our special monthly episode where we feature worthy nonprofits that are serving the needs of not only Southern California residents, but global residents as well. Russel Hornbeek is our featured guest here for the first segment. He's founder and CEO of Music Saves Lives. I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our radio show as a podcast. You've downloaded over 12,500 episodes during the last 30 days, and we here at the program appreciate your continued and growing support. Of course, all of our shows can be heard live here on internet radio station octalkradio.net or rebroadcast anytime from iTunes, Stitcher.com, and other business-oriented podcasting services. You know, one of the things that we were talking about during the break, Russell, was that you have an event coming up on May 17th. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, this is, I guess, geared a little bit more for your audience for sure. This is what it is. You know, our organization, we go out and we reach these young people, and they're, of course, they're not. We're not asking them for money. We're asking them, you know, for the support we need. We're asking them to go and donate. So we count a lot on the corporate donations. And one of the small events, of fun events that we do for some of our older, you know, and corporate people is a poker cigar night at the Naples Big Daddy Cigar.
Okay, so for those of you that are listening in Southern California, and probably most importantly Orange County, where is that?
It's in Naples, Long Beach.
Oh, okay. Even
so it's
better.
right next door.
Yeah,
Right next
LA
door.
too can come and play. Yeah,
absolutely.
Cast a wider net.
Absolutely.
And what would you get if you went?
What you do is,
poker?
you get cigars, poker. We have food for the night, and everything 100% goes to Music Saves Lives, and there are great prizes. We have some great things that are given away at these poker nights. So if you want to sit around, smoke a cigar, play some poker, this is the event to go to.
So if you're listening to this live on octalkradio.net, you have time to register. And if you're listening to us on podcast and it's not May 17th of 2014 yet, you have a chance to still go to the event. If you've missed it, is this an annual event?
It's actually ongoing. We do this about every 2 to 3 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so if you miss it, I'm sure you can get a hold of us,
right,
and we'll plug you in for the next one.
But that's no reason not to go this time.
Absolutely,
because this is going to be a good one. Is it always at this place?
We have been doing that.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun. They have a great setup for it.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It's down in the Long Beach area.
I love Long Beach.
And with the weather the way it is, just always warm. You can't miss it.
All right. So let's talk about a little bit more about the importance of your organization, because I know that we just had a panel discussion on millennials and how important it is for them to give back. So I would think that you're reaching a core demographic that genuinely wants to give back, and this is a great way for them to do it, in addition to other things that they're doing, right? Because this isn't a big time commitment, is it?
No, absolutely not. What's great about this is that you can schedule it on your time schedule, go out, spend an hour donating blood, and you've saved 3 lives. It's that simple.
Wow.
It really is that simple.
And you can do it every 2 months, basically.
You can, every 56 days, you're right there. You can come back and just do it again.
Right. And you said only half the people in the country can donate blood?
Yeah, well, about 50% can. There's a lot of different aspects, like weight, if you've traveled to different countries. There's a lot of medical criteria.
Healthy? You have to be healthy, right?
Right.
Okay.
Generally healthy, and you're available to go and donate.
Right.
It's great.
Wow, it's amazing. It sounds like such a great... So, when you started this organization 9 years ago, did you imagine, fast forward, where you'd be now with a national footprint? And
it really has, it's been amazing and surprising, and just had, it's been so rewarding. Every year now, we hit between 70 and 80,000 blood donations tied to this Fan Warp Tour that we work with across the nation. We've got kids everywhere, every city, helping out, running drives, and getting out and donating.
So this is a truly national footprint that you have.
Absolutely.
Do you have people in local markets that are helping you with the students?
Yes. We have organizations, clubs, Music Saves Lives clubs on college campuses. We have volunteers. We have about a 1,250 volunteer database that works with us at every date of this tour that we go out on. And then, of course, we have other festivals that we work with. And it's exciting to see how these kids get involved. And it's exciting that we affect the national blood supply during the summer between 5 and 7%.
So your goal of filling in that gap where is being achieved.
Exactly.
Of course, there's more to do, right?
Oh, there's always more. And we have to create that new generation of blood donors. We have all this baby boomers they're getting older. They're doing, they have a lot more different medications they're taking.
That's what I'm thinking. The pills that they're taking, that must interfere with their ability to donate blood. I would think you want kind of clean blood in some ways, right? Without all that in it.
Right. There's a lot of new medications, which is great. I mean, our life expectancy is going longer. Well, that just means that we need more blood on the shelves in case you guys need it.
So there's there's somewhat of a
that's guys.
There's a prime donating years then in some ways, right? But only because you're healthier, you don't have these other complications that may inhibit you from being able to donate blood. It really is better for the young. It's easier for the youngers. There's probably more of a percentage of them that can donate than older demographics, just for those reasons.
Right. There's a pool of people that are, they haven't started taking different medications and all of that. So, absolutely. That's why the young people are important.
Our audience are CEOs of middle market companies. Maybe they don't fit this demographic, but more than likely they have sons and daughters and nephews and nieces and people, maybe even some are interns that could work in this program, right?
Absolutely.
And so the goal of being on the show, and I have Russel Hornbeek, who is the founder and CEO of the organization Music Saves Lives, is to educate them that this might be a good thing to let their children know about, to to give back to the community, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And I would think that once they do this, that might open their eyes to other opportunities to give back in other ways.
Yes. And you know what? I think overall, that's our goal. I mean, we're giving an outlet that they can actually go and donate, and you immediately feel great about doing that. You've done something that has helped the community, that has helped a local person that needs your blood, and that's a great feeling. So you can turn that into so many other things.
Right.
You've now been blessed with that feeling. You can go back and get it again in a lot of different ways.
Right, and tell your friends and
Absolutely.
build a community around it. Okay, so Music Saves Lives is all about getting blood into the blood supply and rewarding those youthful donors that are willing to make the commitment to donate the blood.
Yes.
And the Warped Tour is a huge anchor for you to kind of rally around, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's such a widespread national and a lot of energy. What type of perks do they get if they donate blood and they're a consistent donor?
Well, we work with, not only the Vans Warped Tour, but a lot of different festivals. Like at the Vans Warped Tour, if you're the first 100 that come to our booth, you're going to get a backstage pass for the Vans Warped Tour. That's amazing that you've got a festival here with 100 bands. You're going to be able to go backstage, grab pictures, do all kinds of stuff.
Are they donating blood that day?
Oh no,
Okay.
we want you to go out and donate ahead of time.
Okay.
And that's one of the main things. And then, of course, if you're not the first 100, you're still going to be able to meet these bands at our booth, because our booth, we run the main stage bands through our booth. They get to do meet and greets, do pictures right there. So that's just one of the benefits. And
Sure.
we work with a lot of different festivals. Sometimes we get riser stages so you can see this concert better. Maybe there'd be a side stage so you could actually see your band right on stage with them.
Okay.
A lot of different things.
Well, you handed me also a couple things, a digital
Yes.
reward card. And what are these that I'm holding? You can't see them on TV, but if you're at the YouTube, go to YouTube, Richard Franzi YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see me holding them up here.
Well, one of those cards is a digital reward card. And a lot of times you'll get maybe a T-shirt or something for donating. Well, our blood centers that we work with, we send these out, and you're able to get this where you get exclusive meeting, you get exclusive content.
Okay.
Download music, meet a band, and learn about them. And we interview bands, and we talk about it, and we give that to you for a digital rewards card.
So the idea is the music, the bands are the music part of the music,
Absolutely.
and the saves lives are the donating the blood. And you said you save 3 lives for every time you give the donation of blood.
Exactly. I get emails all the time where someone had donated blood, and they said, "Wow, it's really funny. I turned on the radio and." I got a download of this music from you, and now it reminds me every time I hear that song, I want to go and donate blood.
Wow.
So it becomes a lifestyle, not just something you did in school.
Right. What a
Awesome.
great thing for organizations to do that are ministering to young people as well across the spectrum, whether it's the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, whatever the organizations might be. There's a lot of good that can come from what you're doing. Thank you for taking the initiative to create something like this that is impacting so many people. And you said 3 to 5% replacement of the blood supply in the summer. Your organization moves the needle. That is huge.
Yes.
I mean,
we are really fixing that blood shortage during the summer. That was my initial goal.
Right.
I wanted to go across the nation and fix that issue.
Look at you. You're making a difference.
I hope so.
That's fantastic.
It's good. Feels good.
So now there are CEOs out there going, well, you know what? I have kids. I'd like to get them off there, and get them involved in something. How do they find you online? How do they find Music Saves Lives?
Well, the number one thing, which is great right now, is downloading our smartphone app. And I know that every CEO has given their 10-year-olds to their smartphones because they want them, and download our app. You can find out everything about that there. But you can also go to musicsaveslives.org. And of course, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are, the handle plus, Music Saves Lives. So Instagram, Music Saves Lives, Twitter, Music Saves Lives.
Well, there you go. Russell, thank you for being a friend of the program and sharing what you're doing and a part of this critical mass community. And thank you for the good that you're doing across our nation.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
It's great. Awesome.
I love these critical mass nonprofit radio shows. I get to meet such interesting people that are making a difference in lives and giving them a chance to let our audience know about it. Hopefully some of you will become engaged in it either directly or maybe have your children involved or maybe do something through your office and work. So we're going to come back with Robin Sinclair, Executive Director of Casa Youth Shelter, after these commercial words.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret. With 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
Imagine what it would feel like to lose everything. Your job, your home, your family, your dignity. This has happened to thousands of the men, women, veterans, and young adults we serve at Working Wardrobes. What do we do to help? We provide career development services, life skills workshops, job skills training. We provide the perfect interview outfit, and we get clients placed in jobs. Call Working Wardrobes, 714-210-2460. Donate, volunteer, invest, hire.
Richard Franzi is a highly sought-after keynote speaker on topics of interest to CEOs of middle firms across North America. Richard's talks include Killing Cats Leads to Rats, a fascinating look at how unintended consequences of CEOs' decisions impact their firm's performance. Your Gray Matter Matters, which explores how a CEO's mindset can differentiate a middle market firm and define its culture. Richard delivers talks to a variety of audiences, ranging from executive team retreats to keynotes in front of hundreds of CEOs. To learn more about his talks, visit criticalmassforbusiness.com and select the contact page or call 949-887-4104.
Welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. I am your host, Rick Franzi. As I mentioned before the break, Robin Sinclair, Executive Director of CASA Youth Shelter, is our guest for the second segment. Our audience demographic is 98% business owners and executives who listen to learn from the experiences of our guests. If your firm is interested in reaching these top decision makers, then advertising on our radio show may be the answer. Each month, our sponsors gain valuable exposure through their support of the program. Last month, we delivered over 30,000 highly targeted sponsor impressions. If you'd like to learn more, contact Rose Chamora. She's our Vice President of Sales at 951-515-4661. That's 951-515-4661. All right, Robin Sinclair, Executive Director of CASA Youth Shelter, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's nice to have you here. Let's start by asking you a little bit about your background. Can you tell us a little bit about your professional experience?
Sure. I started out in the world of education. I was a career and college guidance advisor, and I worked at the high school level, and I loved working with high school kids. And then I got into administration, and I realized after about 12 years of that I was ready to work in the nonprofit field. I had had a short experience with a nonprofit that helped the homeless in Orange County.
Okay.
So I got a feel for kind of mission-driven work.
Right.
And I loved it. So I had an opportunity to go to work for Habitat for Humanity of Orange County.
Sure.
A good friend of mine is the executive director there.
Okay.
And she said, you have to come here. You will find joy on a daily basis. You need to come here. So I was ready, and I took that leap, and I went there. And I did that for about 10 months and then had an opportunity to go work for another organization called Boys Hope, Girls Hope. And I was the executive director there for 5 years. And it was an organization that helped youth that were disadvantaged yet underprivileged. And it was kind of a combination of my experience with high school kids and the importance of the home that Habitat for Humanity provided. So it's kind of a combination of the two. And then I had heard about CASA Youth Shelter, but had never met the executive director who had been there for 25 years. And I had heard that she was retiring. And I thought, you know, everything that I've done up until this point really has prepared me. And so I thought, I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring. And I threw my hat in the ring, and this June will be 2 years that I've been there.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
So Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for giving so much of your career to these worthy causes and making a difference in Orange County. Let's talk about Casa Youth Shelter. For those that may not be aware of it, we're talking to CEOs of middle market companies here in Southern California, across the country. What role does it play, and a little bit about its history and mission?
CASA is really unique. It was founded by Mildred Jones, who was a lieutenant commander in the Navy, who had an experience as a young woman working with another friend of hers that had wound up in juvenile hall. And she never had children, was never married, had marched with Cesar Chavez and Dr. Martin Luther King, and worked with who was then Governor Reagan, founded the first national runaway hotline. She was, a modern-day Mother Teresa in the Orange County area. So she lived in Rossmore in Orange County and went to an attorney at the age of 69 and said, upon my death, I'd like to open up a teen shelter. She knew that there was a shortage of shelters, and she knew that nothing good could happen to a child on the streets.
Right.
So she opened up the shelter, and, she went to the attorney and said, upon my passing, and he said, you're 69, you're not going anywhere. Let's do this now. And so she enlisted the help of the community and some people in the Los Alamitos, Seal Beach area. And I never had the opportunity to meet her. She stood 4'10", and everybody tells me that you didn't say no to Mildred.
Okay.
And she asked you to do something. You said, yes, how can I help? And so she literally, went and opened up this shelter, had no idea how she was going to feed the kids, how she was going to staff it. But within the first day of its opening, it took 4 hours for a teenager to walk through that door.
Wow.
So she knew that kids needed to have a safe place when they were in the middle of a crisis.
And what year was that?
This was 36 years ago.
Okay.
So she was 69. In 1978 is actually when she started. And she lived till she was 96. So clearly she wasn't going anywhere when she went to an attorney and said, upon my passing, I'd like to establish the shelter.
Right.
So you just talk to anybody in the Los Al, Seal Beach area, and they all have a Mildred story. And you can feel her presence throughout the entire shelter. So she lived in the house next door, and the shelter that we have now is right there. So when she passed away, they leveled her house and put this beautiful sports court up so the kids can play volleyball and basketball. But her mission was to find a safe place for kids in the middle of a crisis. So it's a 2-week shelter. Kids come to us for a variety of reasons. 74% of our kids are at risk of becoming homeless. So they are either running away, coming from a place of abuse. They could be on the streets. They could be with they could come in with a police officer or a school counselor, or they could come in with a parent, and a parent might just say, help me learn how to communicate with my child.
Okay.
So in all stages of a crisis, we've recently established a relationship with Homeland Security. So we have recently had some young women that were victims of human trafficking.
Wow.
So, the wide spectrum of what does crisis look like.
How many beds
we help
do you
them.
have?
We have 12 beds, so 6 boys and 6 girls is our limit. But if a 13th child shows up at 3 o'clock in the morning, we're not going to turn them away. So we'll bring in a cot and let licensing know in the morning that we have a 13th child. And we're not a 2-week shelter in the sense that it's 14 days, it's time for you to go. We would never kick out a child, but certainly a crisis could be resolved in 3 days, and it might be resolved in 17 days.
Okay.
And so,
but it's really temporary housing.
It's a temporary. It's to just diffuse the crisis and engage that child in counseling. So we know we're not going to wave the magic wand. Our goal is to just get them in and just be safe. And so you can imagine in the heat of an argument with mom and dad, either mom and dad are about to hurt each other, maybe mom's about to hurt the child, maybe the child got kicked out. We've had young people that have come home from school and walked into their apartment, and mom and dad are gone, packed up and have left. So, Mildred had this vision that we need to have a safe place for these kids. And so they come to us and they get 3 meals a day and snacks and love and security and stability. They get individual counseling, group counseling, family counseling. And then we have parenting classes on Monday nights. So we know that in 2 weeks we're not going to cure them, but we hope that they'll come back and continue to see the counselors after they've left our care.
They can do that?
As long as they want.
Okay.
The average stay for counseling after they've left our care is about 3 months.
Okay.
But we're not regional. These kids come from San Diego and the Inland Empire and San Francisco. And they come from all over. So we like to think that if they stop coming to CASA for aftercare counseling, it's not because they don't need it. It's possibly because they have a therapist in their own hometown.
Okay. You put them on a path, maybe,
Correct.
right?
We have tremendous amount of resources. We have an amazing outreach team that is out spreading the word. And so we know other agencies out there. So if we know that they live in Riverside, we would refer them to a place that they can get help.
For them. Mm-hmm. I'm talking with Robin Sinclair. She is the executive director of Casa Youth Shelter, which has been in existence since 1978.
Correct.
Any sense for how many youth you've had in your
Over
shelter?
11,000.
Over 11,000.
Over 11,000. Mm-hmm.
That's quite a community of people that you've helped.
It is. It's just remarkable. And, a child might come in and they're sullen and depressed when they come there, and really within a few hours you can just see their whole mood is lifted, and they just know that it's safe.
What's the age range?
12 to 17.
12 to 17.
And in Mildred's infinite wisdom, she applied for a group home license. So what that means is that sometimes through the course of counseling, the child comes in and maybe a few days in, the mom just says, you know what, the child's a danger to the home, danger to his siblings, can't be here anymore. I can't do this anymore. Well, it's against the law to just abandon your child. You can't do that. So if that's the case, then we will file a report with the county that, possibly the parent has terminated their rights. A social worker is assigned to the case, and then in that case, the county determines that the child can't go back to that home.
Okay.
So they would find another group home for that child to go to. Well, Mildred applied for a group home license. So we have 4 beds out of the 12 that are dedicated that they can be group home beds. So we currently actually have 2 young men that live at our house. And they go to school locally, they participate in sports, and they go to prom, and they're regular kids, but we are their home.
Okay.
And usually we work with Orangewood, through Orange County and social services.
But that's really not the focus. The focus is the temporary, the crisis intervention.
Correct.
But you have the flexibility on specific cases.
Right. And it's brilliant because otherwise the child would have to leave what has become comfortable to them and go to another group home. So that way they can stay. So
12 years old is a very young age to
it is.
be dealing with these kind of issues. I can't imagine how in need they are when they show up at your doorstep.
They are. It's pretty phenomenal. And, what's really magical is to watch them go through the counseling when they, go to a group counseling session and they sit with their peers and they find out that, I'm not the only one going through this.
Right.
My friend sitting right here is having a problem with her mom.
Right.
And then the mom comes back and they go to counseling together with the family, and they're given the skills and the tools that they need so that they can be successful and leave successfully. And I've love SurveyMonkey, so I send out a survey at the end of each month to ask the kids and the parents, how was the experience here?
Right.
Is it what you thought? When you came in, did you have these coping skills? And when you left, did you have the coping skills? And it's pretty wonderful to see the success and how it works. The counseling works. It transforms their lives.
That's amazing. We have about 2 minutes left, but I did want to ask you a little bit about kind of homelessness here in Southern California. Orange County, this show is listened to nationally, so people may not realize. They may just think of Orange County from what they see on some of the previously popular television shows. It really is the tale of, I think, 2 counties here in Orange County. There's certainly affluence and wealth, but there's also a lot of people that are in need and living at the poverty line or below. And then you have even another group of people that are homeless beyond the people that are living in marginal housing but have no homes. So can you share a little bit about homelessness in Southern California?
Sure. I have some statistics. We have about 200,000 youth identified in California homeless. So that's a lot of homeless youth. 28,000 in Orange County alone.
Wow.
And as I said, about 74% of the kids that come through our shelter are at the risk of becoming homeless. As I was saying earlier, we have an amazing community outreach team, and what we do is now once a month we go to the motels in Anaheim because so much of the motel population are homeless. So we tend to think that homeless people are the people we see on park benches or under a freeway overpass or pushing a grocery cart along the street, and that's kind of what we think of as homeless. But the reality is if you look at a lot of the motels in the Anaheim area, they're called motel dwellers, and these are families, and these are in a motel room, and there might be 10 people living in one motel room. And oftentimes people will say, well, come on, can't they just go get a job? Why can't they just go get an apartment? Well, to get an apartment, you need first and last, and usually a cleaning security deposit. And then you need this, ridiculous amount of money to move in and perfect credit and a job, and a lot of these people don't have it. They are truly living day to day.
Right. So you can't judge the homeless situation by what you observe on the street corner.
Not at all.
You're being very superficial and somewhat ignorant to the plight of people, if that's how you gauge how many homeless people you see in Orange County.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And especially when you see that the kids are the ones that are really the victims.
Right.
And so, mom, especially with the recession, you've got mom out of work, dad out of work. They're doing everything they can to make it to happen, keep it together.
Right.
So we go to the motels one Saturday a month and do a whole outreach to them, and it's really been very eye-opening, and yet we're able to talk to the parents and let them know that we're there for them, because you can imagine the stress that goes on in those motel rooms.
Yes.
And oftentimes they're looking for just some resources for their own kids.
Right. We're going to take our third and final commercial break here on Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. Robin Sinclair, Executive Director of Casa Youth Shelter, is our guest for this segment, and we'll be back with more to learn more about her organization after these words from our commercial sponsors.
When it comes to pioneers in their respective industries, we all know the Apples, Starbucks, and Trader Joe's of the world. In the realm of recruiting, Decision Toolbox is the industry's best-kept secret, with 90% of their business from referrals and repeat customers. For over 20 years, Decision Toolbox's U.S.-based team of recruiters, sourcers, professional writers, quality personnel, and tech support has perfected a Six Sigma approach to talent management. No matter the size of the project, Decision Toolbox delivers incredible results. A cost per hire less than half of what contingency firms charge, with the winning candidate presented in an average of 14 days, all with a 12-month candidate warranty. With results like that, Decision Toolbox won't be a secret for long. Visit us at www.dtoolbox.com for more information.
There's something positive about the word up. When things are looking good, they're looking up. When someone's down, you cheer them up. So how do you move up? Well, when it comes to getting your bachelor's or master's degree, there's one university that stacks up, Brandman University. Brandman is ranked by U.S. News & World Report as one of the nation's top 10 universities for online bachelor's programs. Brandman's online graduate programs in business and education also receive top honors. So look us up at brandman.edu. Brandman University. Move up.
I just want to share with you my experience as a member of Center Club in Costa Mesa. Many of you know that I've been a member of Center Club in Costa Mesa for over 4 years. I hold my monthly CEO peer group meetings there, my annual executive conference attended by CEOs and executives of companies with $2 to $100 million in revenue, and my daily business meetings at the Center Club. I found the staff to be professional and courteous at all times. My guests enjoyed meeting at the Center Club with its newly remodeled meeting rooms, dining rooms, and the common areas. If you're looking for a place to conduct meetings, host events, or meet some of Orange County's most successful business leaders, then you should consider joining Center Club of Costa Mesa. For information regarding club membership and private events, such as weddings, please visit the club's website at center-club.com. That's center-club.com. Welcome back to this edition of Critical Mass Radio Show. Robin Sinclair, Executive Director of Casa Youth Shelter, is our guest during this segment. I'd like to thank and acknowledge our listeners who download our show as a podcast. You've downloaded over 12,500 shows during the last 30 days, and we at the program appreciate your continued and growing support. All of our shows can be heard live on internet radio station octalkradio.net or rebroadcast anytime from Apple iTunes, Stitcher.com, and other business-oriented podcasting services. Robin, can you share a little bit about the guiding principle that you're using to lead and grow Casa Youth Shelter?
I can. I actually can think of a couple. One in particular came to me when I was working at Share Ourselves, and I remember going to the executive director at the time, Karen McGlynn, and I said, how do you make decisions? Sometimes it's hard for me to make a quick decision. And she said, if you always reflect on your mission statement and always ask yourself if it supports your mission, then that's the direction you need to go in. And that was in 2000, so that was 14 years ago. And I used that every single day because, being an executive director of a nonprofit, no 2 days are the same.
Right.
No 2 hours are the same. On any given day, anything can happen. Anything can come up. I said it's like the Chuck E. Cheese game where you're hitting one thing and the next whack-a-mole it pops up.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's hard to sometimes make that right decision. But if I can stop and ask, A, what would Mildred do? And B, what is the mission of CASA? Then it really keeps me grounded and it makes me, it points me in the right direction.
Brings focus to it, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then the other one is just I've always thought, go where there's an opportunity to grow. So I've always looked at my staff as, wanting to develop their skills. So I might hire somebody that comes in with one skill set and find out that he or she has this amazing other skill set. And so I've always really tried to encourage them to go where there's an opportunity to grow. Mm-hmm. And when that opportunity stops, go and venture out and take a risk and, and just go and do what you need to do.
Right. And that's, smaller nonprofits really need a multi-talented workforce because they have to wear so many hats.
Limited
don't they?
Resources.
Yeah, you can't put a body at every problem. You have to have people who can do a good job at many different things, right?
Right. You have to be resourceful.
You do. Yeah, on a limited budget, right? Very tight funding. Can you, can you talk to our audience about a current challenge that's facing CASA Youth Shelter?
I've never seen an organization so well supported by the community. So I have to say that I'm very fortunate to work in an environment where on any given day a community member might pop in just to say hi or bring a bag of groceries or bring a lovely gift. So the community support is incredible. And what CASA had for 25 of the 36 years was Lucianne Malhart, who was the executive director. And, CASA is a family. It's more than just a nonprofit organization. So here I come in, and I'm not from the Los Alamitos area. I live in Newport, and it's a completely, it's a different community.
Right.
And so I've had to learn who are the key players there, and I'm having to kind of be my own person. And as I said from the beginning, I can't be Lucianne, but I can be the best Robin that I can be. And I'm now 2 years in, so I think I've earned, the trust. But it took time. You can't force something like that. It's somebody new, and I'm not trying to make changes. I'm not trying to do anything radically different, but I naturally have, different eyes, and I see things differently, and I'm bringing my years of education and my years of experience in the education and nonprofit world. So I'm bound to do things differently. So that's been a bit of a challenge. People say, I love change. And the reality is people don't love change. Change is scary.
Yeah, it's the rare person that really would love change. It's because it's uncertainty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I spent probably the first year really learning the culture and the climate of the organization. And it's an amazing staff. And I wasn't hired to turn it around. It was in great shape. It's a well-oiled machine. I just was hired, I think, to carry on Mildred's vision. And I work with Lucianne. She's a fabulous advisor, and I'm able to just kind of take it to the next level. And I feel like I've been able to bring technology and, some of the human resources and, different areas of my life in the last 10, 15 years, I feel like I've been able to bring to CASA.
I'm talking with Robin Sinclair. She's Executive Director of CASA Youth Shelter. I wanted to ask, because I love this opportunity to let our audience know about events that the nonprofits may be hosting that are not too far into the future. So can you talk to us about any events or an event that you might have planned that people could become involved with?
Well, and you talk about change. So we have had the same event for the last 36 years, which is a Commander's Ball. And they called it Commander, obviously, because of Mildred and her experience with the military. And so it had been, 36 years, and everybody said, okay, we're done. We've done it. We've had this wonderful run. And, it's not like the event's going away and that 400, 500, 600 people were still attending, but the core people that put this event together said, we need something new. We need, kind of a shot in the arm. So I have experience with some events, and so we're going to do a theater event, much like is done at an organization that I was just recently at. So we're going to have an event in January of 2015. We'll start off at the Westin and have dinner, and then we'll walk over to the Segerstrom Center for the Arts and see Kinky Boots. And have just a lovely theater night.
Okay.
And it's not, our event has been at the Queen Mary, it's been at the Spruce Goose, it's been at the Huntington at the Hyatt Regency. So we're moving it to this part of Orange County. But I'm really hoping that by bringing it to this part of Orange County, it'll kind of give it a different look.
Okay.
And we might be able to get some corporate sponsors from the tech area, over by the Spectrum possibly, and get some new people to learn about CASA. Because we have a great community support team, but I'd love to see it bigger.
Isn't that always one of the challenges that executive directors of small and middle market nonprofits have, is to grow your community, your constituents? Because you have this loyal base, but you make sure you don't want to fatigue them, right?
Absolutely.
You need to, and it's always good to have more people who care about your cause.
Absolutely. We have to spread the word. And we were just talking about this recently, that it's great that they invite their friends to every event. But at one point, the friends say, "Please don't invite me."
Right. It's almost an obligation.
Yeah,
now, right?
I don't want to get a tux again. I don't want to, I don't want to go through the whole thing. So let's do something different.
Right.
So I'm hoping that this is going to be something new for this particular group, and it's a super fun event, and it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. So it's in January of 2015.
Okay.
You can go to our website and get all the information on all of our events. We have a very robust website, and we have a Facebook, and we have an Instagram and Twitter, and we have a wonderful marketing and communications person that does an amazing job getting all of our word out to everybody. We have a great blog.
Does this person have a name?
She does. Her name is Virginia Kerwin. And you talk about skill set. She came in as a fund development coordinator, to run our development team, which development in a nonprofit world is, business and sales and fundraising.
Right.
And she wound up having this incredible skill set in graphic design and social media. So she's really done a fabulous job getting our word out. And so you can go on, like I said, onto our website and find all of our information. You can register online. And we would love to see you there.
How do you find your website then?
We are at www.casayouthshelter.org.
Do that again for me.
casayouthshelter.org. So www.casayouthshelter.org.
Okay, so we're going to be wrapping up now, but you have one last chance to talk to CEOs of middle market companies here in Southern California. What would you like them to know about Casa Youth Shelter that they may not have heard yet or didn't know before this interview started?
Your participation will absolutely change lives. When you have an organization like ours it's small, it's very hands-on, so it's not like you're going to, call us and it might take a week for us to get back to you. If you call, chances are I will be the one talking to you. If you wanted a tour, any one of the staff will give you a tour probably within that day or the next day if you wanted. We're very hands-on. We're very tangible. If you bring in a lovely dinner, the kids are going to eat it that night. So I know sometimes people want to be able to see where their dollars go.
Right.
And, we will make sure that it goes to the right place. 85 cents of the dollar goes right to our kids.
That's what I've seen from middle-sized and small nonprofits. They're very efficient with the dollar donations. There's a very high percentage of them that go right to serving the cause and doesn't get caught up in anything else, which is a great way to make a difference with your money.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for the fine work you've been doing in our community and the work for the past 2 years. It's great to have you a friend of the radio show and a part of our critical mass community.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Robin Sinclair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this section or segment of Critical Mass Nonprofit Radio Show. We do this to help expose you to these worthy nonprofits that are serving the needs of Orange County and our global residents. The show is brought to you by our advertisers, Brandman University, Commercial Bank of California, Decision Toolbox, Smart Business Magazine, Succession Strategies, and Center Club, a member of Club Corp. Our engineer for today's show is Paul Roberts. Crystal Nunley is in control as our producer. Our guest coordinator is Kathleen Shepard. Our marketing strategist is Asia Celestino, and our live events coordinator is Melissa Pedani. Our VP of Sales, Rose Chamora, and I'm your host, Rick Franzi. If you'd like to learn more about Critical Mass for Business, maybe the CEO peer groups that I lead, or you have an idea for a future guest, or maybe you want to advertise on the radio show, visit criticalmass4business.com. Until the next show, I hope all of your decisions will move your company in a positive direction.